Hey guys. Well, I made it to 30 episodes. 30 episodes. I am definitely no longer 30 years old. Those were the days. This week, I wanted to show you guys Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. I was there in February for a comic convention before all this madness started, and a couple coworkers and I were treated to a tour of the USS Arizona and the Pearl Harbor Memorial by Jason, one of the park rangers. And by the way, shout out to Jason and Chief for the hospitality and showing us around. We won't forget it. It was a great visit. It was an awe-inspiring tour, and it was really humbling to be standing up above the USS Arizona. They also took us to the oldest bar in Oahu. It was the old watering hole of the crew of the USS Arizona. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Hi, my name's Chris Bauer, and I am an art slinger. I travel around the nation selling artwork at comic book conventions and anime conventions. And along the way, I like to visit movie locations, eat great food, and hang out with my fellow art slingers. Each week, I travel to a new convention in a different city. Sometimes by plane. But most of the time, I'm in the car. From the brisk streets of the Windy City, to the make-believe streets of Disney World, to the hills of Hollywood, California, and all the points in between. This is how I see America. On sets, streets, and eats.
Well, I can't let some torpedo jockey speak for Roy, especially one not good enough to fly from Enterprise. Get up. Okay.
I was gonna say, that's the Forestry Service.
Sorry.
Get it right, Jimmy.
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yes.
Daniel's actually finishing up from a
Yeah.
presentation we did.
Okay.
So he'll catch up with us now.
Cool.
December 7th, 1941. No American will ever forget this Sunday morning in Hawaii.
about, sorry, yeah, 14 feet for the stern and 10 feet for the bow. Arizona sits in about 7 fathoms of water, which equates to 43 feet.
Okay.
As you look in front of you, you're looking at the barbette, or what would be considered the case mount of the turret. The turret assembly was removed in 1942 during the salvage operations. Coming towards us, you have the ventilator, or what's left of it, one of the 3 vents that were here. Because of the clarity, you can actually see the base of the other one over here to your left.
So the wreckage was substantially out of the water then when
Only
they
parts
started
of
working
it.
it? Really?
Only some pieces of it. The salvage operation ran from January 42 up until about July 43.
Wow. Okay.
They needed all that extra iron and steel for the war.
Also,
I'm
on
sure
top of
they
that,
used
these
it.
2 aft turrets were used as close to the it's a good quality today. So right below you is actually the enlisted men's galley
Really?
running parallel to us. You see that row?
Yeah.
Those are all the ovens.
Wow, no kidding.
Ovens and stoves, yes.
Wow. So this was actually like inside.
This is the main deck itself, yes. So if you look to your right, you see the mooring bits right there. That is
Yeah.
the starboard rail, or the extreme right of the Arizona.
Okay.
And then over here to your left, this mooring is actually built on her port rail.
Okay.
Now again, because it's very clear today, it's interesting. If you look, you have the turrets right there,
Right.
turret number 2. They turned that into basically a convertible in 42, removing the 3 55-foot long barrels. Now if you come between it and us, you'll see a circle at the, underneath the water.
Yep.
I'm not sure if you can see that right now,
I
but
can see
that
it.
is what I like to call a unicorn moment. You don't get a chance to usually see the base of the funnel.
Oh, okay.
Drops of oil coming up. About a drop of oil comes up every 20 seconds for the USS Arizona.
No kidding. How much oil is left in it?
We don't have an exact answer. Our assumption is about 250,000 gallons. At the time that she came back to Pearl Harbor after her exercise on 5 December 41 and moored here at Fox 7 for the last time, she took on 1.4 million gallons of bunker sea oil. Very thick oil. You would call it number 6 oil today. It's the bottom of the barrel. So imagine the viscosity or the thickness like molasses. So that is what she was carrying in preparations of going to California the following Friday on the 12th. The bow still holds the same height as it did, but you'll notice this is where the collapse ended. So basically, from a funnel forward, all 6 decks accordioned on themselves. Well, picture it. You had over 1 million pounds of black powder that went off. So that's going to cause a huge collapse.
Where would the explosion have come from?
Right here.
Right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Went down.
That's the entry site.
Yeah, it's the entry point. It was a delayed action, so it was an armor-piercing round, 16-inch, taken from the Japanese battleship Nagato. Weighed 800 kilograms or 1,760 pounds. Dropped from an altitude of 10,000 feet, so 2 miles above you, and worked its way down to the forward magazine, setting off the forward magazine. That was one of 3 accelerants that caused Arizona to burn for nearly 3 days. You had that. 1 deck above, you had the aviation fuel for her scout planes. They weren't aboard, but she still had aviation fuel. And then after that, her bunker sea oil covered the surface of the harbor around 3 inches thick, leading Arizona to burn at temperatures exceeding 8,000 degrees for nearly 3 days.
That's bad.
Of a crew of 1,511 men, 1176 would lose their lives in those moments at USS Arizona. There was also 1 other individual on board Arizona from another ship, USS Alette, who lost his life as well. That brings you to the 1177, the largest loss of life in the history of the United States Navy. End of the day, you'd have 335 survivors of USS Arizona. We're down to 2. And then all the lower ones are going to be the 44th, who have been interred later since 1982.
And they've been interred in the ship. They send a diving team down there.
No kidding. I didn't know that.
The 3 that stand out to me are Joseph Langdale, Birdsell, and Bruder, just because those were the 3 I physically considered.
Really? That is really neat. What a great...
If you want to be buried with your ship, you better be okay with being cremated,
Honestly,
right?
that's amazing.
surrounding it are the 335 names of the survivors of USS Arizona.
That's really neat. God, that's amazing how big those things are. And how many, I mean, they would have had, what, 2 or 3 of those on there? 3. Wow.
She started out with 4, but she went down. We're still debating. We're
Really?
trying to go through the paperwork right now.
Yeah, sure.
And you're surrounded by the helium and
Yep.
the sand tables. And, look,
And then what a backdrop,
exactly.
you know? But you can figure people out.
I'm not sure if you noticed as you're going through here, but you'll
Yeah.
see some names that are actually standing out. These
Gold
individuals in
ring.
gold
Yeah.
are actually Medal of Honor recipients.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow, there's a lot of them.
There are.
Merci beaucoup.
Christopher
That's right.
Colombo.
Yeah.
Okay, ready, aim, fire.
When we were on these trips back east with my dad being in the space industry, we stopped at Gettysburg. And this park ranger came out with his Smokey the Bear hat. This park ranger gave a talk, and then he went in and got in a Civil War uniform and came out with a musket and fired it, and I said, that's for me.
So you truly intended to do that when you grew up?
I just said that's for me, but I didn't know how I was going to get there. But that whole idea of working in a national park like Gettysburg, it was just like, how do I do this?
Daniel Martinez has been captivated by military history since childhood, and he followed his passion. Today, he's chief historian at the World War II Valor in the Pacific National Monument, which preserves and interprets the stories of the Pacific War, including the events at Pearl Harbor.
There's the man.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
Hello.
Men at work right now, guys. Shipping off your box. How are you?
How are you? This is amazing.
Good thing he brought you along, because these
Yeah,
guys.
right, the only good
I
thing is-
know. No personality. This is
We're 3
That's
uggos.
the last minutes right there. Arizona's exploding at 8:06. Oklahoma will capsize 1 minute later at 8:07.
Jeez.
I think it was
That's
8:08.
fast.
What's this story?
I'm going by what I've been
I think
reading.
it was
by the
8:08.
US.
What's the story with this?
That is a blackened canteen. That's a replica of a ceremony that we do every year. The original canteen is shown and used, and a B-29s, 2 of them collided over Shizuoka, you know, where they make like tomato models.
Yeah.
Anyway, the town was getting plastered, and the planes fell into the city. And one of the Japanese inhabitants, who was Buddhist, he saw that, and he made sure that the bodies were buried properly. Well, it wasn't very popular with all the blood because they're blowing up the city, killing their kids, and that's what we do in war. And he found that canteen, and it's believed that the whoever was in the plane was gripping that thing, and their hand grip was on it.
Holy Moses.
Yeah, and so
It's a replica. You guys can hold it.
yeah, you can. It's made out of fiberglass. The original comes back, but it's an
I
exact
can
replica.
see that, man.
Made an
Wow.
exact replica of a U.S. canteen.
Oh
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Can you that's crazy. Look
So
That's crazy.
I was lucky enough to, because I've been holding this ceremony because for what, how many years now?
Thereabouts.
It has to be about 15, 16 years, and so they gave me that last year.
That's really incredible.
So I haven't done it honor, but yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. You have so many treasures here, man.
Yeah, that's what I collect is right there. That's the company called King and Country. So they're all hand painted in China and Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And they make all the kind of soldiers.
It's the only place we can afford to hand paint stuff anymore.
Well, those are like 45 to 50, $45 a
I'll
piece.
bet they are.
The tank is the Fury tank, and if you look closely, you can see Brad Pitt.
Yeah, right?
They made a figure of it. Yeah, War Daddy's in there.
Oh my
Right in
God.
there. That's him with Patton.
Wow, man, this is
The
incredible.
Brad.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
So where's the Arizona?
She's right here with the Vestal alongside her.
Oh, I see.
Oh, yes.
So
I worked
starting
with
from
him.
Fox 3 to your left
I
with
used to be on
California,
the
going all the way to
board.
Fox 8 with the Nevada.
So I was at
And that's the formation they would have been
Yes.
on.
Move those for you so you can see.
December 7th.
He's a really nice guy.
Super nice. Oh my gosh.
Really nice guy.
Wait, we just,
Yeah, so
without knowing it, lined it right up for him, didn't we?
So starting from left to right, you have California,
Mm-hmm.
Fox 3.
I was on the
Fox
board
4
for
is going to be the Euler Neosho.
7 years.
Fox 5, you have
So
the Maryland
he was one
inboard,
of their
Oklahoma
founding
outboard.
fathers.
Okay.
Working to Fox 6, Tennessee inboard, West Virginia outboard.
Steven Spielberg.
Fox 7,
Okay.
Arizona, where she still is today.
It was such a
Repair ship
rush
Vestal alongside
that,
her.
so they
And
decided
then
to make
finally,
a
Fox 8,
museum.
USS Nevada.
And then, so yeah, that's fun.
Good long one.
That's, you know who makes that? Web makes that.
It's incredible.
Nautilus right here. So when I spoke at the, I was at Naval War College. I'm an adjunct professor there. And when I was doing a lot, they invited me to be the keynote speaker for Midway, and that's a big deal. And
Yeah.
it was like scary. I never spoke to like 2,000 people before, and they're all in there. You know, you want to. So they gave me that. Now there's a guy that takes a piece of thin masonite and cuts that plane out, and then paints it. And
Oh my gosh.
he did Waldron's plane of the famed Torpedo Squadron 8. So it's when you look at it, it's a relief. You know, like Jimmy Boy would just,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I get that. And then they created these. We could have some kind of saying that would be,
That would
there's
be
a couple
cool.
of them, you know.
Yeah, we could even do.
Here we come to remember, you know,
I love
visit
it.
the USS.
And we could
Right.
do postcards of it, and you know what I mean. There's all kinds of stuff. Do
Yeah,
different.
even the small little ones that are bigger ones,
Yeah.
do that. And so you could do.
That's pretty cool.
You got pulled over? No. You got pulled over?
Yeah, he did.
Oh my god, I was freaking out because I was like,
Who was driving?
He was.
I wasn't.
Awesome, guys. We'll see you next time we're in town.